You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. Among the various acts of injustice against R. Kelly was the leaking of his restricted communications from the MCC, where he was held for several months before his trial process commenced. R. Kelly was denied bail over claim he was a flight risk, but with the findings of the undisclosed FBI report, the judge who denied him bail did it with a more sinister purpose, which was to allow government keep tabs on him, by compromising the Bureau of Prisons officers to illegally access and leak all his communications which should have been kept private by warrant. For so long now, the bail denial has remained a matter of serious contention, considering no one believes the court's excuse of suggesting R. Kelly could have been a flight risk. It all sounded concocted, and indeed with the new findings, we now learn that it was all planned out so his communications by both phone call and email could become the government's leverage to poach some defense witnesses onto the prosecution side. While we now know that the Bureau of Prisons officers were used in this illegal activity, not many people know exactly how long this went on. Again, from the FBI report, which was deliberately kept private, we are learning that the Officer A, who is now happily retired and enjoying her freedom, actually did trail R. Kelly for over 6 months. This is half a year of illegally taping an inmate's phone calls, and forwarding his emails to her backup computer, and relaying these to blogger Tasha K to read it all out to her audience of over 1.2 million subscribers. This is not just breaking the laws, but rather breaking the laws on a large scale. And many will not stop to wonder how such an activity could have gone on for so long under the watch of the BOP bosses, and with the blessing of the Justice Department, which made sure to keep the target locked up in prison. Why is the time factor very important in analyzing the depth of this matter? Usually when looking at crime, the time factor is very important, as it may indicate premeditation, to mean that the perpetrator did invest plenty of time in planning to commit the said crime. And this could mean that the perpetrator was not simply tempted to error but made it their duty to commit the crimes in question. In the case of leaking R. Kelly's communications, clearly by trailing him for more than half a year, it indicates that this was well planned and properly prepared for, and could have been the very reason he was denied the bail he so deserved. They decided, let's lock him up and trail him so that hopefully we can get a way of turning these women against him. And that is exactly what they did to him. It's mind-boggling trying to imagine what kind of country the United States has slowly turned into. One where a suspect will be denied bail on purpose so he can remain in custody and have his phone calls and emails illegally sold out by the very people who are paid with taxpayers' money to protect this data. Denying the defendant a chance to properly defend himself with impunity. How about the DOJ admits that it has been hijacked by the mafias who will use it to implement their agenda whenever they need to? It's no way such a violation should happen, and the entire system ignores, and instead goes on to further try the defendant like everything is alright, and further worsening the situation by prejudicing him even more during these state-managed kangaroo court trials. What about his rights as a citizen? What about his attorney-client privacy? It's a shame to learn that we are now living in a country where this no longer matters. A country controlled by large foreign corporations like Sony. If the infringement on Kelly's rights had been a one-time event, perhaps we would have given it a benefit of doubt that it was a mistake made by a single officer. However, the revelation that this took place for over 6 months only confirms that it was a result of a combined effort between government and the various departments. And this quickly turns it into a major act of corruption that should be punishable by law. However, because the system is rotten, it is the victim of this injustice that is locked up while the perpetrators are out there enjoying fresh air and taxpayers' money in form of salaries and allowances. R. Kelly is locked up not because he broke the laws but because the government officials who broke the law trying to implicate him do not want the truth to come out. The longer Mr. Kelly is in prison, the longer they are able to suppress the truth of what they did to get him locked up in the first place, and this explains the passion with which they are doing everything possible to keep him behind bars. According to Naomi. Now this explains why we see very many of our own black people rotting in US prisons, as if to suggest that being black means being criminal. Now we can conclude that these are victims of BOP surveillance and illegal access to their communications with their attorneys. If they can do this to the R&B king, what would stop them from doing the same to the ordinary black suspects who by the record constitute a great percentage of prisoners and a country of white majority? We have been wondering why it's more likely that black defendants will lose their cases, and end up locked up away from their families for a greater part of their lives. Now we have the answer. There is no doubt that the leaking of R. Kelly's prison communications could have caused him significant emotional distress, making him wary of speaking openly even with his legal team, and this could potentially have hindered his ability to prepare an effective defense for himself. We therefore needed to see him gain some legal ramifications, and some legal action taken against those responsible for the unauthorized access. As these were duly proved by the FBI investigation, in a fair system we should have seen that the involved parties face some sanctions and serious legal consequences. According to Morris, what the court and government prosecutors don't know is that the leaked communications have a great impact on public perception, compromising trust in the system. These leaks in fact compromised Kelly's right to a fair trial in many ways. They definitely prejudiced the jurors and violated his client attorney privileges. Thankfully, R. Kelly has filed a lawsuit against the United States Bureau of Prisons, accusing prison staff of leaking his personal communications including phone calls, emails, and visitor logs. The lawsuit claims that at least 60 prison employees accessed his records without authorization, leading to the information being leaked to the public. One notable leak involved YouTuber Tasha K, who received and broadcasted R. Kelly's private communications on her channel. Tasha K reportedly used this information to share details about Kelly's personal life and legal troubles, which she confessed were obtained from a phone tap. It is rather weird that even with such major confessions as this by Tasha K, no action was taken. If you wish to take part in a live interview on this channel discussing any of these topics, let us know by emailing us on sashahnnewsroom@gmail.com for scheduling. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say. To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.